After the Whistle starts in Mansion Park Stadium, where Tyrone's Brady Ronan takes this 45 yards to the house. Let's slow this down and take another look as you see him get the handoff, and then you see the elusiveness. Not one, not two, not three, but four defenders he evades. But would it be enough for the Tyrone Golden Eagles to taste victory? Hi, I'm Alex Rocco, and we'll have more on that game and others from around District 6.
And I'm Braun Leiber. Penn State shut out Iowa in front of Beaver Stadium's second largest crowd ever at the Whiteout last Saturday. We'll recap that game and look forward to the Nittany Lions' next challenge, the Wildcats of Northwestern. All that and more coming up on After the Whistle.
Our game of the week is a Mid-Penn Commonwealth battle. State High versus CD East, with both of these teams coming off wins from last week. State College back at home tonight, hosting Central Dauphin East for a Friday night showdown. On the very first drive for Central Dauphin East, Jared Porter breaks through the line of scrimmage, and he could go all the way for a 68-yard score. Look at the speed from Porter there as Central Dauphin takes an early 10-0 lead. State College starts to creep back into this thing as Eddie Corkery tosses a 9-yard touchdown pass to Michael Gall. State College only down by 3 now. Not for long, as now in the second quarter, Corkery would find Gall again, this time from 10 yards out. Gall had 2 touchdowns and an interception on the night. Further on in the second, running back Deontay Sheffy would pound it in for another State College touchdown as they started to pull away, now leading 24-10. Third quarter, State College will build on its lead. Corkery finds Damir Codd for a 45-yard score. State College would go on to win 43-17 in one of its best offensive performances of the year. State College moves to 4-1 and will next travel to Carlisle as Central Dauphin drops to 3-3 on the year. Our Game of the Week reporter Esteban Marenko was at Memorial Field tonight. What did you see from these two teams?
Thanks, Alex. Think back to the start of September. State High lost its first game of the season with a missed field goal as time ticked on. Since then, they have found ways to win, so when things went wrong at the start of tonight's game, it was no big deal.
State College was on the ropes coming out of the gate. The game started off with CD East taking control with 10 quick points. But after that, it was State High's ball game. The State High Little Lions went on to score 43 unanswered points with 5 field goals and 4 touchdowns, and it stemmed from one play.
They all trust me. I know we were going to go. My wide receiver is going to go make plays. O-line, Jake, Luke, Matthew, Dardis, Lulis, Melito, all them blocked. I didn't even get touched besides that one.
After being down 10 early in the first quarter, the Little Lions and their defense quickly took control, only letting up 7 more points for the rest of the game.
Anytime you have a kid like number 3, Porter, for them, he's a special athlete. Getting kind of caught up to that speed that we can't replicate in practice. So it just takes some time. And so once the kid's settled in, we really were able to kind of keep him from breaking loose again.
Playing complementary football provides chemistry with the team, something that Corkery sees from his squad.
We've been doing that in the backyard. It's like nothing. It's like second nature. That's what we do.
State College had a happy homecoming game tonight, and we are now halfway through the regular season. Reporting in the studio, I'm Esteban Marenko. Now back to you, Bronwyn.
Thanks, Esteban. Tyrone took unfamiliar roads to BG, a team they had not played since 2006. It was Bishop Guilfoyle's senior night, and on the first drive, Tyrone's quarterback Ashton Walk is picked off by Trent Adams, who takes it the distance, giving BG the early 7-0 lead. The Golden Eagles didn't fly off, however, as Brady Rowan took the handoff to the house for a 40-yard touchdown at Tyrone, tying it for a score of 7-7. We then moved on later in the game to the second quarter with the score tied at 14. From this, Ashton Walk heaves one to Andrew Weaver, who climbed over the defense, scoring the touchdown to make it an intense 21-14 score heading into the half. Tyrone would hold on to win the game 28-27 after the Marauders failed a 2-point conversion. Next week, Tyrone will host Huntington, whereas Bishop will travel to Bellwood Antis.
Let's turn to Phillipsburg Osceola as they face the Bellwood Blue Devils tonight. It was homecoming tonight at Phillipsburg Osceola, a common theme you'll see across all of District 6. Game starting as ball is on the 44-yard line. Zach Myers heaves it deep down the field to Sam McDonald, who cruises in for the early score. Phillipsburg Osceola up 7-0, just over 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Alex McCartney bounces this one outside, and look at the speed. Look at him go, a 36-yard touchdown. This game is even at 7. Just a couple of seconds left in the third, ball on the 2-yard line. Myers heaves it up for Lucas Peterson, but Josh Dormany gets up for the interception. This game still even at 7 apiece. Just around 6 seconds left in the third on that pick, but on the first play of the fourth quarter, McCartney goes up the middle for the Bellwood to score as they take a 14-7 lead. The Blue Devils added one more score and hung on to win 20-7 for their first win of the season. Bellwood improves to 1-5 and heads home to play Bishop Guilfoyle next week. Phillipsburg Osceola falls to 1-5 and will host Bellefonte next week. Now let's take a look at some scores around District 6. Penns Valley fell against Clearfield 35-7, and Central captured a 34-21 win over Huntington.
Somerset lost against Richland 46-6. Meanwhile, Cedar Cliff defeated Mifflin County in a dominating 48-6 game.
Central Cambria lost to Chestnut Ridge 42-21, and Mount Union rolled over Glendale 41-0.
West Branch is set to take on Curwensville tomorrow at 7 p.m. After both teams had shutouts last week, the Valleys battle it out to see who will rise victorious. Let's go to Moshannon Valley versus Juniata Valley. Let's jump to the third quarter, 6-0 as Mo Valley Leave Thompson says no one can stop me. Hornets would score and take the lead later on the drive, 7-6. Black Knights find the end zone on their next series. They set up for the extra point, but hold on, it's a fake as Micah Bish. Micah, can you make it? Micah, yes you can. 14-7, the Black Knights lead. Later in the third, Juniata Valley in the red zone. Lucas Dix makes the basket grab for the score. After this game, the Hornets will get the close win with a final score of 20-14. They will go to play Mount Union next week while Moshannon Valley takes on Curwensville at home.
Hollidaysburg hosted Westinghouse tonight for the Golden Tigers homecoming game. The Bulldogs outscoring their opponents by more than 100 points this year in just 4 games. They were on top when Caden Delatre takes the Maddox Beatty pass in for 6. Tigers trailing just around 8-7. It stayed that way until late in the half when Westinghouse found its groove. Ty Abrahams takes the handoff and weaves his way through the secondary to find the end zone, and the Dogs were up 22-7 at the break. Westinghouse took the win 30-22. They will travel to face Butler next week, and Hollidaysburg will hit the road to take on Oil City.
From Westinghouse to Westmont Hilltop, let's see how those Hilltoppers did against the Penn Cambria Panthers tonight. Penn Cambria is putting their 4-game winning streak on the line at home. With a 4th down on the first drive of the game, Brady Jones had a 46-yard touchdown pass to Carter McDermott, putting Penn Cambria up 7-0. On the next drive for the Panthers, Thomas Plunkett with a 20-yard rushing touchdown, just bulldozing through that Hilltop defense there, making a score of 14-0. 2 plays into the second quarter, we see Jones with a 57-yard touchdown pass to Gavin Harrell, increasing their lead with the score reading 27-0's Panthers after a missed extra point. Penn Cambria kept knocking on the door with not only a threshold of an offense, but a wall of defense, getting the shutout victory for their homecoming game, beating the Hilltoppers 39-0. Penn Cambria advances 5-1 and next week will face off against the Chestnut Ridge at home. Meanwhile, Westmont Hilltop falls to 2-3 and will look to face Bishop McCourt next week at home.
Bald Eagle traveled to face the Bellefonte Raiders this week. Both teams showing off their sportsmanship before the game, shaking hands. First Bald Eagle possession, Carson Nagel finds Nicholas Wilby for the touchdown. Bald Eagle up 7-0. After an Eagles fumble recovery, Nagel with his second touchdown pass of the game, this time to Cale Burns as the Eagles double their lead to 14-0 rather. Second quarter, Nagel with a deep drop back, surveying the field, looking to run. He will take off, now launching it deep down the field, caught for the touchdown. Bald Eagle up to 41-0. At that point, the Eagles again victorious, winning tonight over Bellefonte 55-7. Bald Eagle is unbeaten at 6-0 and will face Clearfield at home next week. The Red Raiders are 0-6 and are at Phillipsburg Osceola next Friday. A look at Penn State's historic whiteout win is coming up.
But first, let's turn to some scores from the PIAA. We'll see you after the break. Hello and welcome back to After the Whistle, brought to you by Com Radio, Center County Report, and Penn State's Chapter of Awesome.
Let's rewind to Saturday when the Nittany Lions had their 4th win of the season. Reporter Tim Rogers has more.
The energy was high in Beaver Stadium as the Nittany Lions took on their first-ranked opponent of the season. The weather was classic football weather in State College, cold and rainy. That meant a slow start to the game, with Penn State getting on the board first with an Alex Felkins field goal. Penn State got the first touchdown as well, as quarterback Drew Aller found tight end Khalil Dinkins for the 9-yard score, giving the Nittany Lions the 10-0 lead at the end of the first half. Penn State continued to utilize the tight ends as Tyler Warren snagged the next 2 scores of the game to expand the lead to 24-0. Aller then threw his 4th touchdown of the game in the 4th quarter, finding wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith in the end zone. But the key for Penn State's success was their defense.
We put a priority on athleticism. There's probably a few bigger defenses, but we are athletic and we're quick and we're fast and we're explosive. And we're playing more consistent gap sound defense.
The Nittany Lions were all over Iowa quarterback Cade McNamara, including this strip sack by defensive end Chop Robinson. The defense held this shutout for Penn State, the first time in 23 years the Hawkeyes were shut out. Penn State now moves up in the AP poll to number 6 as it heads on the road this week.
Thanks, Tim. Penn State is hitting the road to take on Northwestern tomorrow. I got to check out practice this week. Let's take a look.
Number 6 Penn State flexed its muscles last weekend, dominating the then number 24 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes 31-0, as a sea of white exploded from the stands. Now, the Nittany Lions shift their focus to their second road contest this season against Northwestern.
These guys are 2-0 at home. You look at Northwestern, they've typically had good home records. Why? Because it can be challenging to play there.
The Wildcats have a 2-2 record this season and are coming off a 37-34 overtime victory against Minnesota. This win came after they were trailing 31-10 to begin the 4th quarter. Northwestern is led by interim head coach David Braun, who faces a top 25 opponent for the first time in his career.
After defeating Iowa 31-0 in the annual whiteout game, Penn State heads off to Northwestern this week in a unique environment. Northwestern sits around last in the Big Ten in average attendance, which means Penn State's players are going to have to create their own energy.
But for me to act like it's not a factor, it is, and you got to get prepared for it. We haven't had any music, even our period 20. You guys know we usually play the Phil Collins, and it's usually blaring. And they were asking me to turn it up today, and I said no. So just little things like that.
The last time these two programs faced off in Evanston was back in 2017, where Penn State took home a 31-7 victory, and it will look to expand its winning streak on Saturday.
Penn State looks to remain undefeated tomorrow starting at noon. Make sure to catch all the action on Com Radio. Jacob Schnurr and Josh Bartosik are on the call with their pregame show starting at 11 a.m.
Meanwhile, it's officially homecoming season in District 6, as 4 of the schools in our area tonight celebrated this special occasion. State College, Bellefonte, Phillipsburg, Osceola, and Penn Cambria all honored their homecoming courts, all while naming the winners of 7 of the 8 members on the field. The outlier being Penn Cambria's homecoming king, who was announced at their homecoming dance following tonight's game, with the majority of the other dances being held tomorrow. Congratulations to all of tonight's kings and queens, and what a beautiful night for some special homecoming celebrations. Well, I don't know about you, Alex, but my homecoming wasn't that long ago, and I personally loved all 4 years about it. How were yours?
Well, Bronwyn, my homecomings were a long time ago, nearly around 3 years, but they still echo the same sentiment. Always great to have homecoming night.
Well, I always loved it, but that's all for Week 6. Join us next week as we continue to talk about all things District 6. I'm Bronwyn Leiber.
And I'm Alex Rocco. Thank you for catching up with us on high school football action right here on After the Whistle.